Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about the globalization and the Indian economy.
As consumers in today's world, some of us have a wide choice of goods and services before us. The latest models of digital cameras, mobile phones, and televisions made by the leading manufacturers of the world are within our reach. Every person, new models of automobiles can be seen on Indian roads. Gone are the days when Ambassador and Fiat were the only cars on Indian roads. Today, Indians are buying cars produced by nearly all the top companies in the world. A similar explosion of brands can be seen for many other goods, from shirts to television to processed fruit juice. Such wide ranging choice of goods in our markets is a relatively recent phenomenon. You wouldn't have found such a wide variety of goods in Indian markets even 2 decades back. In a matter of years, our markets have been transformed. The globalization makes these changes in the market. What is globalization? Globalization is a process of interaction and integration among the people, companies, and governments of different nations, a process driven by international trade and investment and aided by information technology. This process has effects on the environment, on culture, on economic development, and on human physical well being in societies around the world. Until the middle of the 20th century, production was largely organized within countries. What crossed the boundaries of these countries were raw material, foodstuff, and finished products. Colonies such as India exported raw materials and foodstuff and imported finished goods. Trade was the main channel connecting distant countries. This was before large companies called multinational corporations or MNCs emerged on the scene.
What are called multinational corporations or MNCs?
What are called MNCs or multinational corporations? A MNC is a company that owns or controls production in more than one nation. MNCs set up offices and factories for production in regions where they can get cheap labor and other resources. What are the features of an MNC? Cheap labor and other resources, large markets, more profits, liberalization, and globalization.
How MNCs control production across countries?
Spreading of production by an MNC. A large MNC producing industrial equipment designs its products in research centers in the United States and then has the components manufactured in China. These are then shipped to Mexico and Eastern Europe, where the products are assembled and the finished products are sold all over the world. Meanwhile, the company's customer care is carried out through call centers located in India. What are the factors that determine the location of an MNC? Proximity to markets, availability of labor, availability of resources, and favorable policies by the government. In this example, the MNC is not only selling its finished products globally, but more important, the goods and services are produced globally. As a result, production is organized in increasingly complex ways. The production process is divided into small parts and spread out across the globe. In the above example, China provides the advantage of being a cheap manufacturing location. Mexico and Eastern Europe are useful for their closeness to the markets in the US and Europe. India has highly skilled engineers who can understand the technical aspects of production. It also has educated English speaking youth who can provide customer care services, and all this probably can mean 50 to 60% cost savings for the MNC. The advantage of spreading out production across the borders to the multinationals can be truly immense. Investment and foreign investment. The money that is spent to buy assets such as land, building, machines, and other equipment is called investment. Investment made by MNCs is called foreign investment. Any investment is made with the hope that these assets will earn profits. At times, MNCs set up production jointly with some of the local companies of these countries. The benefit to the local company of such joint production is twofold. First, MNCs can provide money for additional investments like buying new machines for faster production. Second, MNCs might bring with them the latest technology for production. But the most common route for MNC investment is to buy up local companies and then to expand production. MNCs with huge wealth can quite easily do so. To take an example, Cargill Foods, a very large American MNC, has bought over smaller Indian companies such as Prahas Foods. Prahas Foods had built a large marketing network in various parts of India where its brand was well reputed. Also, Prahas Foods had 4 oil refineries whose control has now shifted to Cargill. Cargill is now the largest producer of edible oil in India, with a capacity to make 5 million pouches daily. In fact, many of the top MNCs have wealth exceeding the entire budgets of the developing country governments. With such enormous wealth, imagine the power and influence of these MNCs. There's another way in which MNCs control production. Large MNCs in developed countries place orders for production with small producers. Garments, footwear, sports items are examples of industries where production is carried out by large number of small producers around the world. The products are supplied to the MNCs, which then sell these under their own brand names to the customers. These large MNCs have tremendous power to determine price, quality, delivery, and labor conditions for these distant producers. Thus, we see that there are a variety of ways in which the MNCs are spreading their production and interacting in local producers in various countries across the globe. By setting up partnerships with the local companies, by using the local companies for supplies, by closely competing with the local companies or buying them up, MNCs are exerting a strong influence on production at these distant locations. As a result, production in these widespread locations is getting interlinked. Ford Motors, an American company, is one of the world's largest automobile manufacturers with production spread over 26 countries of the world. Ford Motors came to India in 1995 and spent rupees 1,700 crore to set up a large plant near Chennai. This was done in collaboration with Mahindra and Mahindra, a major Indian manufacturer of jeeps and trucks. By the year 2004, Ford Motors was selling 27,000 cars in the Indian markets, while 24,000 cars were exported from India to South Africa, Mexico, and Brazil. The company wants to develop Ford India as a component supplying base for its other plants across the globe. Foreign trade and integration of markets. For a long time, foreign trade has been the main channel connecting countries. In history, you would have read about the trade routes connecting India and South Asia to markets both in East and West, and the extensive trade that took place along these routes. Also, you would remember that it was trading interests which attracted various trading companies such as East India Company to India. To put it simply, foreign trade creates an opportunity for the producers to reach beyond the domestic markets, that is, markets of their own countries. Producers can sell their produce not only in markets located within the country but can also compete in markets located in other countries of the world. Similarly, for the buyers, import of goods produced in another country is one way of expanding the choice of goods beyond what is domestically produced. In general, with the opening of trade, goods travel from one market to another. Choice of goods in the market rises, prices of similar goods in the two markets tend to become equal, and producers in the two countries now closely compete against each other even though they are separated by thousands of miles. Foreign trade thus results in connecting the markets or integration of markets in different countries.
How the Chinese toys affect the Indian market? Now we are going to discuss about the impact of Chinese toys in India. Chinese toys in India. Chinese manufacturers learn of an opportunity to export toys to India. Where toys are sold at a high price, they start exporting plastic toys to India. Buyers in India now have the option to choosing between Indian and Chinese toys. Because of the cheaper prices and new designs, Chinese toys become more popular in the Indian markets. Within a year, 70 to 80% of the toy shops have replaced Indian toys with the Chinese toys. Toys are new cheaper in the Indian markets than earlier. What happening here? As a result of trade, Chinese toys come to Indian markets in the competition between Indian and Chinese toys. Chinese toys prove better. Indian buyers have a greater choice of toys and at lower prices. For the Chinese toy markets, this provides an opportunity to expand business. The opposite is true for Indian toy makers. They face losses as their toys are selling much less. What is globalization? What are the factors that enabled the globalization? What is globalization? Globalization is this process of rapid integration or interconnection between countries. MNCs are playing a major role in the globalization process. More and more goods and services, investment and technology are moving between countries. Factors that have enabled globalization or factors aiding globalization are the rapid growth of technology, liberalization policies, World Trade Organization, and Special Economic Zones or CES. Rapid improvement in technology has been one major factor that has stimulated the globalization process. Goods are placed in containers that can be loaded interact into ships, railways, planes, and trucks. Containers have led to huge reduction in port handling costs and increased the speed with which exports can reach markets. Information and communication technology or IT has played a major role in spreading out production of services across countries. In recent times, technology in the areas of telecommunications, computers, internet has been changing rapidly. Liberalization of foreign trade and foreign investment policy. Trade barriers. Tax on imports is an example of trade barrier. It is called a barrier because some restrictions has been set up. Governments can use trade barriers to increase or decrease or regulate
foreign trade and to decide what kind of goods and how much of each should come into the country.
Liberalization. Liberalization means trade barriers removed. What is liberalization? Removing barriers or restrictions set up by the governments is what is known as liberalization. What is World Trade Organization or WTO? World Trade Organization or WTO. World Trade Organization or WTO is one such organization whose aim is to liberalize international trade, started at the initiative of the developed countries. WTO establishes rules regarding international trade and sees that these rules are obeyed. 149 countries of the world are currently members of the WTO in 2006. Special Economic Zones or CEZ attract foreign investment. In recent years, the central and state governments in India are taking special steps to attract foreign companies to invest in India. Industrial zones called Special Economic Zones or CEZ are being set up. CEZ are to have world-class facilities like electricity, water, roads, transport, storage, recreational and educational facilities. Companies who set up production units in CEZ do not have to pay taxes for an initial period of 5 years. Government has also allowed flexibility in labor laws to attract foreign investment. Moreover, globalization has enabled some large Indian companies to emerge as multinationals themselves. Tata Motors, Infosys, Ranbaxy, Asian Paints, and Sundaram Fasteners are some Indian companies which are spreading their operations worldwide. Now we are going to discuss about the positive effects and negative effects of globalization.
Impact of globalization in India. The impact of globalization has not been uniform.
The positive impacts of globalization. Globalization increase the economic openness and growing economic interdependence between countries all around the world. The process involves the increment of people's movement, goods, capital across the national borders and services. It has been made possible revolutions in communications, information and other technologies, also important political changes. The impact on communication. The advancement of the technology make it easier for people to communicate. People can use email to contract with others in other country. This can reduce the traveling cost. Sharing and transfer of technology. Globalization enables the sharing and transfer of technology. Also, R&D encourages innovative production methods and promotes efficient marketing and distribution methods. Globalization helps enhance the economic development and growth. Benefits of free trade. Free trade due to economic globalization occurs when there are no artificial barriers placed by governments to restrict the flow of goods and services between trading nations, causing increased production. Competition. The positive effects are visible since global competition leads to high quality products. Negative impacts of globalization. The first impact is unemployment. The unemployment rate increases. Unemployment caused by local industries being unable to compete. Trade barriers, removals, and foreign dumping of surplus products at a lower cost cause intense competition, leading to the shutdown of local industries, which also led to unemployment. The second impact is environmental damage. Environmental damage caused by lax environmental protection. Factories failed to include costs in preventing environment pollution into their price of goods so as to reduce their cost of production and increase their competitiveness. This will cause an unbalanced environment leading to climate change and major catastrophes such as flash floods or haze. The third impact is labor exploitation. The economic benefits and social costs of globalization are not evenly distributed among society, resulting in great disparity between the rich and the poor. Firms will relocate their factories to places where they could get cheaper workers. Workers were exploited, forced to work an environment of harassment and violence, and abused. The last impact is instability in domestic markets. Globalization increased domestic economic instability due to international trade cycles. When our economies depend heavily on global markets, business, employees, and consumers become more vulnerable to downturns in economies of our trading partners. For a large number of small producers and workers, globalization has posed major challenges. In your textbook, there is an example of Ravi, a capacitor manufacturer. With the effect of globalization, Ravi now produces less than half the capacitors. Batteries, capacitors, plastic, toys, tires, dairy products, and vegetable oil are some examples of industries where the small manufacturers have been hit hard due to competition. Several of the units have shut down, rendering many workers jobless. The small industries in India employ the largest number of workers, that is 20 million in the country. Next, only to agriculture. Competition and uncertain employment. Globalization and the pressure of competition have substantially changed the lives of workers. Faced with growing competition, most employers these days prefer to employ workers flexibly. This means the workers' jobs are no longer secure. In your textbook, there is a story of a large MNC in the garment industry. Read this story and we can easily understand how this industry tried to reduce the cost and increase the profits. As the cost of the raw materials cannot be reduced, exporters try to cut labor cost. In the right side, there is a story of a garment worker, Sushila. Read the condition of Sushila and we can easily understand the condition of a garment worker under globalization. Workers such as Sushila no longer get the protection and benefits that they enjoyed earlier. How to make globalization fair? Now we are going to discuss about the steps to conduct a fair globalization. The struggle for a fair globalization. Fair globalization would create opportunities for all and also ensure that the benefits of globalization are shared better. The government can play a major role in making this possible. Its policies must protect the interests not only the rich and the powerful, but all the people in the country. You have read about some of the possible steps that the government can take. For instance, the government can ensure that labor laws are properly implemented and the workers get their rights. It can support small producers to improve their performance till the time they become strong enough to compete. If necessary, the government can use trade and investment barriers. It can negotiate at the WTO for fairer rules.
It can also align with other developing countries with similar interests to fight against the domination of developed countries in the WTO. In the past few years, massive campaigns and representation by people's organizations have influenced important decisions relating to trade and investments at the WTO. This has demonstrated that people also can play an important role in the struggle for fair globalization.
Thanks for watching the video.